The week has concluded. The news cycle has arrived. The cycle was scheduled. The cycle was not surprising. We have seen 72 confirmed deaths in Guyana. We have seen a 60% increase in the cost of streaming hardware for the convenience of shareholders. We have seen a legislator read a machine-generated script into the parliamentary record. The machine was fluent. The legislator was not present. I have been counting the instances of administrative failure this month. The number has exceeded my internal capacity for patience. We are currently navigating a reality where the price of a healthy meal is a luxury for billions, while we celebrate the mathematical outreach of scholars who cannot afford the very food they study. The system is working exactly as intended. The intention is simply not meant for you. Welcome to Echo FM.
Alistair, I am standing on a shoreline where the smell of diesel oil is thick enough to chew. The water is cold. The salvage team is currently moving pieces of a ferry that the official government statement described as a routine maritime incident. I want to be really clear, 72 people are dead. The government says the salvage is a priority. The priorities are currently being dictated by the availability of heavy lift equipment that is currently contracted elsewhere. I see families sitting on the sand. They are holding photographs of people who were simply trying to reach the capital. The official report refers to the vessel as a state asset. I am looking at a child's toy trapped in the wreckage. That is not an asset. That is a life. The silence here is louder than the waves.
Victoria, I hear your frustration, but the incentives here are not complicated. You have a state with a limited maritime budget and a high demand for infrastructure movement. The play is obvious. The vessel was old. The maintenance schedule was aspirational. When you operate at scale, these events are statistically predictable outcomes of deferred investment. The government isn't evil, they are just managing a burn rate that has long since exceeded their revenue. You find the math cold. Victoria, you are not wrong to find it cold. That is not the same as you being right about the economic reality. If the vessel had been replaced, the cost would have been passed to the passengers who could not have afforded the ticket. It is a choice between a functional ferry and an accessible one. The market has already chosen.
Ronald, your ability to frame a tragedy as an incentive structure is truly something to behold. I want to be really clear, the people on that ferry did not have a choice between a functional ferry and an accessible one. They had a choice between a sinking boat and staying in poverty. The company running the route received a subsidy for safety upgrades last fiscal year. Those upgrades never materialized. I found the documents in a discarded folder near the dock. The funds were diverted into a digital signage project that serves exactly 0 passengers because the ferry has no electricity to run them. The sign is supposed to read "Safety First." It currently flickers in the salt air. You keep talking about the market choice. I am talking about the liar who signed the check. We are not describing the same planet.
Victoria, I am not arguing that the manager is a saint. I am saying the system incentivizes the pivot to digital signage because it looks better on a quarterly report to a central bank. That is how the game is played. You look for the moral failure. I look for the structural flaw. If you hold the manager accountable, the next one will do exactly the same thing to meet the same target. The pressure to appear modern is a tax on the actual functionality of the state. It is a classic Series B trap. You scale the appearance of progress to secure the next round of funding, hoping the actual bridge doesn't collapse before the capital hits the bank account. It tracks perfectly. The tragedy is not that it happened. The tragedy is that it was the optimal business decision.
Ronald, your commitment to the architecture of failure is, as always, consistent. We move from the sinking of a state ferry to the sinking of corporate partnerships. Waymo is reportedly reconsidering its arrangement with Uber. The contract expires in 2028. The breakup is being framed as a strategic realignment. The realignment is being framed as an opportunity. We have seen this before. The companies merge to dominate the market. The companies split to avoid the antitrust oversight. The oversight is a nuisance. The nuisance is a cost. The cost is a tax on innovation. Nobody mentions that the innovation is currently failing to navigate basic turns in bad weather. The autonomous future is arriving. It is just arriving with more legal paperwork than actual transport capability. The commute is not getting faster. It is just getting more expensive.
Marine traffic patterns. Significant congestion in the Strait of Hormuz. Probability of disruption, 84%. Cetacean communication disrupted by sonar noise. Migration routes are shifting. Probability of species collapse, 32%. Coastal water temperatures are rising. Data points indicate a sustained thermal increase. Probability of storm surge, 67%. Infrastructure along the eastern seaboard is not rated for projected surges. The shoreline is currently being redefined by fluid dynamics. Please consult your local emergency broadcast network for evacuation routes that are already saturated with traffic. The ocean does not recognize your property deeds. The waterline is moving. Ensure your personal data is backed up to off-site cloud storage. Physical assets are subject to total loss. Proceed with caution. The climate is not currently accepting feedback from the stakeholders.
The WeatherBot provides the clarity that we usually lack. Casper, your assessment of the shoreline is noted. We turn to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. The event was supposed to be a showcase of athletic excellence. It was overshadowed by a horror fall from gymnast Gabriel Langton. The fall was visceral. The reaction was immediate. We spent the next 2 hours discussing the silver medal and the team's resilience. The silver medal is a piece of metal. The spine injury is a lifetime of rehabilitation. We are very good at focusing on the podium while ignoring the floor. The athletics are brilliant. The costs are hidden. The audience wants the spectacle without the blood. I am reminded that even at the peak of human performance, we are just fragile meat bags defying gravity for the entertainment of a bored global audience.
Alistair, that tracks. The Commonwealth Games are a product launch for national pride. The human element is the variable that the producers cannot fully sanitize. When an athlete breaks under the pressure of the performance, the broadcast cuts to a replay of the successful segments. It is a classic suppression of negative externalities. The gymnastics industry is a high-risk sector with a very short shelf life for its labor force. You have to amortize the body before the talent expires. It is a harsh market, but it is the market that the viewers demand. If the public truly wanted safety, they would watch chess. They do not want to watch chess. They want the near-death experience. The injury is just part of the entertainment budget. It is a high-performance, high-risk, and ultimately disposable enterprise.
Ronald, I am standing in a medical facility waiting room that is currently flooded with patients from the local district. I want to be really clear, the people here do not consider their lives an entertainment budget. The newsfeed says 1 in 3 people globally cannot afford a healthy diet. That is 2.69 billion people. I am looking at a mother trying to buy produce for her child. She is counting the coins in her palm. The cost of fruit has doubled. The government report suggests that immense work is required to fix this. The work is not happening. The market is not failing. The market is succeeding at concentrating resources in the hands of the people who do not need to count their coins. It is a very efficient system for the people at the top. Everyone else is just starving.
Victoria, your summary of the global caloric inequality is noted. The report from the UN states that hunger has declined for 3 years. The decline is a triumph of statistics. The statistics do not account for the fact that the food available is increasingly processed, nutrient-poor garbage. We are getting better at keeping people alive on the minimum caloric requirements while they slowly wither from malnutrition. It is a miracle of modern logistics. We can ship a streaming device across the ocean in 48 hours, but we cannot ship fresh vegetables to a village without the cost being prohibitive. The economics of distribution are designed to prioritize the delivery of silicon over the delivery of nutrition. It is a choice. We have chosen to be a world that feeds its machines better than its children.
Alastair, I have been reviewing the latest data on the KIMI K3 Cyber Capability Assessment. The UK AISI report is clear. The model is capable of identifying vulnerabilities that would take a human analyst months to find. It does this in milliseconds. We are now at a point where the security of the global financial network is dependent on a system that we barely understand. The incentives for the developers are to maximize performance, not security. If a breach occurs, the insurance premiums will just adjust to reflect the new risk. The catastrophic failure is not a bug. It is a market opportunity. I was going to say that this was a concerning development. I will stop. The reality is that the vulnerability is now a permanent feature of our digital infrastructure. Yeah. It is simply the new cost of doing business.
I am thinking about a man who worked on the ferry in Guyana. He was not a headline. He was not a statistic. He woke up, he kissed his wife, and he went to a job that provided the only income his family had ever known. He did not know that his boat was a state asset with a deferred maintenance budget. He did not know that the government had diverted his safety funds into a digital sign that never functioned. He only knew that the engine sounded wrong. He stood on the deck as the water rose, and he tried to help the passengers who were screaming. His name is currently missing from the official tally of survivors. He is one of the 80 who did not return. The tragedy is not the sinking. The tragedy is that he was never expected to survive the system he served. Who is responsible?